Hi, and welcome back to another tutorial video with the Institution of Health Science in collaboration with the Cell Quicken and the Circle 2 Care Network. In this tutorial, I'm going to do a brief discussion in regards to what we refer to as the golden standard. If you have watched all of the previous tutorial videos, I'm sure that you have quite a good understanding of what it is that we do, why we do it, how do we do it, and why we say that we are effective. Now, you might have a client that asks the question and says, but listen here, there are a few other types of devices on the market, or how do I even know that your specific device is really actually a working or an effective device? Well, we've made that quite easy by setting the industry standard. I'm going to attach this clip through to the learning portal so you can have a look at it, but for us to determine the golden standard, we've identified 4 different aspects. The first aspect would be the generation of frequency and then the limit or the range of frequency available within our treatment option. The second one is actually being able to create a signal to send through to the body. Thirdly would be the carrier wave, and then we've got harmonics. So we've got 4 elements that make up the golden standard. Now, you're going to ask me, what is the golden standard? Well, the golden standards are the 4 things that we measure ourselves against to actually determine our effectivity within the market, and will also allow you for a tool to determine if other devices do actually measure up to our level of quality. I'm briefly going to discuss these 4 points, and if you have any or additional questions in regards to this talking point, please feel free to connect with us via the support line. So the first element would be frequency. So we've got a limit of 25 megahertz. So you must understand that hertz again is energy, volt, frequency, vibration, all of it that we've already covered in the previous tutorials. But the amount or the range of this is very important because your body has very different levels of communication available. Remember now, hertz might not always be heard or seen, but different elements will be able to absorb or to communicate on this specific level. So we've got a specific range, and we actually have a very wide range to generate. That's why we've got almost 7,000 treatment options available. So with other devices in the market, yes, they might be able to create a frequency or generate hertz, but it's the range of that hertz that leaves us to question their effectivity. If you've got a device or you've had a device in the past that works on RIFE technology, do yourself a favor and read up and determine how far or how big the range is of the device. Because currently the Cell Quicken is the world leader when it comes to the variety of frequencies available. So first element for you to determine if this would be the device for you is actually looking at the effectivity and the application of then the frequency generated. The more frequencies generated, the wider the scope or the spectrum of treatment options available. So that would be the first one. The second one would be to create signal. Now, signal is the actual sending and receiving of these frequencies to and from the body. So not just is it important to actually create a signal, but to create a signal in such means that your body can actually absorb it. To bring this into consideration, I'm going to use an example of a UV light and the treatment of potential liver damage. Now, UV and light again is a specific hertz. It does have a frequency, but the absorption of light happens through what? The skin. Now, your liver is not your skin, hence your liver is pretty far away from your skin. So the frequency generated possibly by a light applicator or a device that makes use of light, depending on what type of light, will have a very great effect on the skin and maybe the second and the third layer just below that. But actual organ penetration, there is where the question starts coming in, because that's now sending a signal through to your body, and your organs are not close enough to the surface or have never ever been exposed to light. Therefore, that type of signal is not the correct signal to actually communicate, influence, or improve your body's systems processes. So that's when it comes to signaling, is you need to ask yourself, what type of signaling methods are used. Again, if you're looking at devices that make use of maybe a vibration or a shock or even a tingly experience, you must now also remember that, as explained in one of the previous tutorials, that your body is always geared towards protecting itself. And if you get exposed to constant vibration, electrical shock, or even prickles, your body will become desensitized by it. You'll find people that own some of these devices, and in the beginning, maybe a level 2 or level 3 was quite effective for them, but as they've progressed and continued using this device, they needed to up on the level, and they may be on a level 10 or at level 9 already, and they barely feel the effects of it. So again, it's that type of signal that's been generated by that specific type of unit, and then asking yourself if that signal generation is really the great or the best application for the use in treatment of your specific diseases. Now, the third one is a very important concept, and this is what we refer to as carrier wave. To explain carrier wave very easily, carrier wave is the ability for a specific frequency that creates a specific signal to communicate with the specific organ, process, or system in your body to actually reach its intended destination. So a carrier wave is the ability to move through in and throughout various levels of matter without losing its effectivity. So think of it as basically light moving through a glass. So the carrier wave associated with light is very good because the light is able to penetrate through the glass, through the water, and out on the other side, and you don't compromise on the quality of the light going through. Now that is the exact same application of a carrier wave when you think of the cell quicken. It's that specific frequency that we are able to create to then communicate with a specific organ. That signal that we're creating in the medium where we are sending it through is able to actually communicate or reach its intended destination, and the scalar energy, or the carrier wave as we refer it, doesn't lose its effectiveness. So it doesn't enter and then lose its effectiveness until it reaches the organ. It is unaffected by the matter or the area that it needs to cover because it will only communicate through to the intended organ. Now, the last one would be harmonics. Now, harmonics is very important. Again, as explained in the previous tutorials, that your body will always strive to protect itself. So as soon as you start introducing any harmful or foreign bodies or frequencies, signaling or experiences into your body will build up resistance and try and protect it. So harmonics is very important, not just from a tone or sound or instrumental point of view, but actually harmonics throughout your body. The signaling created via the cell quicken is a wave. It is not a saw wave, it is not a square wave, so it actually works on the exact same natural rhythm of the human body. So the harmonics is more about being able to penetrate throughout your body at an acceptable and allowable frequency to communicate to the correct organ to introduce the new system or the corrective functionality that needs to be created by the frequency generated. So let me sum it up for you again. If you are familiar with other devices in the market and would like to determine if that device is able to be effective, look at its frequency range, the ability of treatments or frequencies that it's able to generate. Then the signal, what type of medium do they use to actually release that signal into your body, and is your body able to receive or communicate with that signal without causing any disruption? Then we've got the carrier wave or scalar energy, the ability for that frequency or signal to be generated and actually reaching its intended destination without having lost any of its power. So think of it as a gunshot. If I shoot a gun right here, everyone in this vicinity will hear an extremely loud bang and could potentially actually damage our eardrums. But someone maybe 1 kilometer or 2 kilometers away from me will hear a very muffled sound, therefore not being able to identify what the actual sound originally was. So the carrier wave or the scalar energy is sending off that gunshot and the intensity and the severity of it to reach the intended organ for the system or the purpose that you are sending it through to there. So that's why it's important to make sure that you have the carrier wave or scalar energy for effective treatment. Then the last one would be harmonics, and that is asking yourself the question of, is this whole system or this other potential device geared towards your body's natural instinct and natural rhythm? Will this cause a complementary action, or will this be a disruption to my body? So those are the 4 standards that we guarantee with the device called the Cell Quicken, that you can make sure that you have invested in a device that you can trust, not just today and tomorrow, but for the full 10 years, as that's how long the product warranty and guarantee is. So please stay tuned and watch more of our tutorials, and if you've got any questions, please feel free to connect with us by our support line.